Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where exposure is celebrated. Social media encourages us to share, confide, and put every aspect of our lives on display. But what if I told you that the key to power, success, and even peace lies in what you don't expose? There are things that, once revealed, can never be taken back. They shape how people see us, how they treat us, and even how we see ourselves. Today, I want to share with you 12 things you should never expose, because in the silence of these secrets lies your greatest strength. Privacy is often underestimated in a world that encourages sharing, but it holds immense power. It is not about secrecy or isolation, it is about control. It is the more you keep to yourself, the more influence you have over your life, your decisions, and your outcomes. Privacy is not just a preference. It is a strategic advantage that determines how people perceive you, how they treat you, and how much power you hold in any situation. We live in a time where information flows freely. Social media has blurred the lines between personal and public life. People willingly share their thoughts, struggles, plans, and emotions with the world, often without considering the consequences. While transparency has its place, it should not come at the cost of personal power. The truth is, what you choose to keep private shapes your influence. When people know too much about you, they can predict your moves, manipulate your actions, or even use your own words against you. Privacy is a shield that protects you from unnecessary vulnerability. One of the strongest arguments for maintaining privacy is control over perception. The less people know about you, the less they can judge, interfere, misinterpret your intentions. When you expose much, whether it's your financial situation, your struggles, or your ambitions, you invite opinions, expectations, and sometimes even envy. Not everyone who listens is a supporter. Some people watch, not to cheer for you, but to see if you fail. Privacy keeps you from unnecessary scrutiny and allows you to move without pressure. Another powerful aspect of privacy is its role in building mystery and respect. Have you ever noticed how the most influential people in the world are not the ones who constantly talk about themselves? They are the ones who reveal just enough to be known, but never so much that they lose their edge. They maintain an aura of mystery that makes people curious, intrigued, and even inspired. This is because mystery creates value. When you are selective with what you share, people appreciate what they do know and respect what they don't. It keeps them engaged, and most importantly, it keeps you in control of your own narrative. Privacy also preserves personal peace. The more you expose your life, the more energy you waste on explaining, defending, or justifying yourself. Every piece of information you release is an open invitation for feedback, some of it constructive, some of it harmful. By keeping parts of your life private, you eliminate unnecessary noise. You protect yourself from the burden of external opinions that do not serve you. Inner peace comes from knowing that not everything requires validation from others. Moreover, privacy gives you space to grow. When you share your goals prematurely, it creates an illusion of progress. Talking about an idea often feels like an achievement, but in reality, words alone do not build success. Actions do. Keeping your ambitions to yourself allows you to focus on execution rather than expectation. It lets you make mistakes, learn, and adjust without unnecessary pressure from outsiders. Not every plan needs an audience, and not every dream should be public before it is realized. In relationships, privacy is a sign of emotional intelligence. Knowing what to share and what to keep private strengthens trust. A person who guards their personal life with discretion is seen as dependable and mature. It signals that they respect boundaries, not just their own, but also those of others. Whether in friendships, business, or love, people are drawn to those who do not overshare, because it suggests a level of self-respect and discipline that is rare and valuable. Privacy is not about hiding, it is about choosing what deserves exposure. It is the silent strength that allows you to operate with clarity, confidence, and control. It is a filter that separates what serves you from what drains you. In a world that constantly demands more information, more access, and more transparency, the true power lies in knowing when to say less. Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in life, yet it cannot be demanded, purchased, or simply declared. It must be earned. It is not something you can announce and expect people to believe. Rather, it is built through consistent actions, integrity, and reliability over time. Trust is fragile, difficult to gain, and easy to lose, which is why it should never be taken for granted or assumed. Many people mistakenly believe that trust is established through words. They proclaim themselves as trustworthy, reliable, and honest, expecting others to immediately accept these claims. But trust is never built on statements alone. It is formed through repeated patterns of behavior. You cannot tell someone to trust you and expect them to do so without proof. Just as a reputation is built over years, but can be destroyed in moments, trust requires continuous effort and commitment to maintain. One of the fundamental aspects of earning trust is consistency. People do not trust those who are unpredictable or unreliable. If someone makes promises but rarely follows through, their words become meaningless. If a person is kind and supportive one day but dismissive and selfish the next, others will hesitate to rely on them. Trust is established when actions align with words, not occasionally, but consistently. It is through reliability that people feel secure in their relationships, whether personal or professional. Integrity also plays a crucial role in earning trust. Honesty is not just about telling the truth, it is about living by a set of values that reflect fairness, accountability, and respect. A person who stands by their principles, even when it is inconvenient, earns the trust of those around them. Conversely, someone who changes their morals based on circumstances or personal gain quickly loses credibility. People may not always agree with someone's decisions, but if they see that those decisions are made with integrity, they are more likely to respect and trust that individual. Trust is also built through vulnerability and transparency. When people open up about their struggles, challenges, and imperfections, it creates a connection. However, vulnerability must be handled with care. It should never be used as a tactic to manipulate or gain sympathy. True transparency means being authentic, not performing for approval. It means admitting mistakes, taking responsibility for one's actions, and being willing to make amends when necessary. Those who try to cover up their faults or shift blame onto others eventually lose credibility. Trust grows when people feel they are dealing with someone who is real, not someone who is constantly trying to maintain a perfect image. Another critical factor in earning trust is respect for confidentiality. Nothing damages trust faster than betrayal. When someone shares something in confidence, they are taking a risk and placing their faith in the other person. Breaking that trust by sharing private information or using it against them erodes the foundation of the relationship. A trustworthy person knows the value of discretion and does not use someone's vulnerabilities as a tool for gossip or advantage. Trust is also deeply connected to actions during difficult times. It is easy to be supportive when everything is going well, but true trust is tested in moments of crisis. A person who stands by their commitments when situations become challenging proves their reliability. On the other hand, someone who disappears, blames others, or acts selfishly when times get tough reveals their true character. Trust is solidified not in moments of ease, but in moments of adversity. Ultimately, trust is not something you demand or declare, it is something you demonstrate. It is earned through honesty, reliability, and the ability to respect others' boundaries and vulnerabilities. It requires patience, as it cannot be rushed, and it demands responsibility because once broken, it is difficult to rebuild. Those who understand the value of trust know that it must be nurtured, protected, and proven through consistent actions, not just empty words. In today's world of constant connectivity, the flow of information is faster and more abundant than ever before. Every detail of our lives, our personal thoughts, our emotions, our plans, is just a click away from being shared, liked, or commented on by others. Yet, there are certain things that should remain private, as not all information is meant to be disclosed, and not all people deserve access to it. The act of withholding certain details is not about hiding or deceiving, but rather about protecting yourself and preserving the integrity of your relationships and ambitions. The first reason that not all information is for everyone is that some details are inherently personal and intimate, whether it's about your health, your family, or your internal struggles. Some aspects of your life are deeply private, and sharing them too widely can lead to discomfort, misinterpretation, or even exploitation. These personal matters are part of what makes you unique, and exposing them to the wrong people can leave you vulnerable to judgment, manipulation, or unwelcome advice. The more you open yourself up to others, the more room there is for others to impose their own views or influence on you. Keeping these things private ensures that you retain control over how and when they are shared and with whom. Another important reason for withholding information is that not all people have the emotional capacity to handle the sensitive aspects of your life. Vulnerability is often necessary for deep connections, but not everyone will respect or understand the significance of what you share. When you disclose information to people who are not emotionally equipped to respond thoughtfully or kindly, you risk feeling misunderstood or even dismissed. While you may crave empathy, some people may react with judgment or criticism instead. For your own peace of mind, it's crucial to recognize who truly has the emotional maturity to handle your truth. Furthermore, sharing too much information with the wrong people can expose you to risk. Whether in personal or professional settings, information has power, and in the wrong hands, that power can be misused. Not everyone will act in your best interest. A business partner, for example, may take advantage of your shared vulnerabilities or ambitions to gain leverage. Similarly, in social settings, the more people know about your personal life, the more room there is for gossip, rumors, or unnecessary speculation. By being selective with what you reveal, you maintain control over your narrative and protect yourself from exploitation. The dynamics of trust and respect are also deeply connected to the selective sharing of information. Trust is built over time, and it is often a reflection of how much you choose to disclose and how carefully you manage what you keep to yourself. If you reveal too much too soon or share details that are irrelevant or inappropriate for a given context, you can create a sense of discomfort or uncertainty. In relationships, whether professional or personal, people often respect those who are discerning with their information. Being too open can unintentionally erode trust because others may feel overwhelmed or unsure of where they stand with you. The ability to withhold certain things allows you to build rapport in a more controlled, respectful manner. Moreover, some information simply isn't necessary for others to know. While sharing details can create connections and build intimacy, overexposing yourself can often backfire. For example, in professional settings, sharing too much about your personal struggles or life outside of work can distract from the purpose at hand or make colleagues uncomfortable. Similarly, in public spaces, revealing too much about your personal views or controversial opinions can alienate others or lead to unnecessary conflict. In these contexts, keeping certain things to yourself ensures that you stay focused, maintain your professionalism, and protect your boundaries. Lastly, not all information is meant for everyone because it can disrupt your personal growth. Sometimes, when we reveal our deepest thoughts, dreams, or plans too early, it can feel as though we've already achieved them in some way. Telling others about your ambitions or projects before they come to fruition can lead to the illusion of progress and diminish your motivation. You might also face unsolicited feedback or criticism that undermines your confidence or direction. Keeping your goals and ideas to yourself allows you to work on them quietly and focus on turning them into reality without the distractions of outside influence. In conclusion, not all information should be exposed, and not everyone deserves access to it. There is power in discretion. Withholding personal details, sensitive information, or private thoughts is not a form of secrecy, but a protective measure. By being intentional about what we share and with whom, we maintain control over our personal narrative, protect ourselves from harm, and preserve the integrity of our relationships and goals. In a world that encourages constant sharing, it's essential to recognize that some things are better kept private because they are the foundation of who we truly are. In a world where everyone is constantly sharing their thoughts, achievements, and opinions, silence can often feel like an anomaly. People are increasingly encouraged to speak up, voice their concerns, and share their lives openly. Yet the art of silence is a powerful and often overlooked advantage. There is strength in holding back, in choosing when to speak and when to remain quiet. In a society that thrives on noise and constant chatter, those who master the art of silence possess a strategic advantage that others often fail to recognize. Silence is not about being passive or disengaged. It is about being deliberate, controlling what you reveal, and knowing when the best course of action is not to speak. The power of silence lies in its ability to create space for clarity, focus, and influence. In a world full of distractions, silence allows you to observe, listen, and think more deeply. When you are not constantly talking, you gain the ability to process information without the interference of external noise. This allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, which is a key component of effective decision-making. One of the most significant advantages of silence is the space it provides for contemplation and strategy. When everyone else is talking or sharing their opinions, those who remain silent are often in a position to observe and learn. They listen carefully to what others say, picking up on nuances, intentions, and hidden messages that may not be immediately apparent. By withholding your own voice, you gain the opportunity to gather more information, understand different perspectives, and formulate a more informed response. Silence creates room for critical thinking, helping you make decisions based on careful analysis rather than rash judgments. Moreover, silence gives you the power of mystery. When you speak less, people are left to wonder about your thoughts, intentions, and motivations. This sense of mystery can be highly advantageous, particularly in social and professional settings. People are naturally drawn to what they do not fully understand. They seek to uncover the unknown, and in doing so, they elevate your presence. The more you reveal, the more people can form conclusions or assumptions. But when you hold back, you create an air of intrigue that can make you more compelling and influential. Mystery, when handled strategically, can be a tool to keep others engaged and interested in what you have to offer. Silence also enhances your ability to control your emotions and reactions. In tense situations, it can be easy to let your emotions take over, especially when you feel provoked or misunderstood. However, silence allows you to stay composed and avoid the pitfalls of emotional overreaction. It is a form of self-discipline that prevents you from saying something you might regret later. The ability to stay quiet in the face of conflict or provocation is a mark of emotional maturity and strength. By holding your tongue, you protect yourself from unnecessary confrontation and maintain your integrity, while also allowing time for emotions to settle before responding. In conversations, silence can be a powerful tool for influence. Often people talk because they feel compelled to fill the space with words, and in doing so, they can unintentionally reveal more than they intend. By remaining silent, you force others to take the lead in the conversation, which often results in them sharing more than they originally intended. In negotiations, silence can be an effective tactic to create discomfort and compel the other party to fill the void with concessions or additional information. It is a subtle but effective strategy for gaining the upper hand without saying a word. Furthermore, silence can be a form of self-protection. In a world where information is often used against people, there is wisdom in withholding personal details or opinions that could be misused. The more you reveal, the more vulnerable you become. Whether it is in personal relationships, professional settings, or public life, there are times when the less people know about you, the better. Silence creates a boundary that protects you from unwanted scrutiny, gossip. Finally, silence fosters peace of mind. The constant need to express opinions, share updates, or respond to others can be mentally and emotionally exhausting. By embracing silence, you allow yourself the space to retreat, reflect, and restore your energy. In a culture that often celebrates busyness and constant engagement, taking the time to be quiet and reflective can be a form of self-care. It is through silence that we reconnect with our inner thoughts and desires, away from the noise of the outside world. In conclusion, the silent advantage lies not in the absence of speech, but in the power of choice. the ability to control when and how you engage. Silence is not about retreating or avoiding communication. It is about mastering the art of thoughtful restraint. It allows you to listen, learn, strategize, protect yourself, and build influence. In a world that prizes constant communication, the power of silence can be the most strategic tool you possess, giving you the ability to stay grounded, composed, and in control. Every word you speak carries energy, an invisible force that shapes your reality. Words are not just sounds strung together to convey meaning. They are expressions of intent, emotion, and focus. It's essential to recognize that words are not neutral. They hold power, and the energy they carry influences everything around us. Consider the difference between speaking with positivity and enthusiasm versus speaking with negativity or doubt. Positive words have an uplifting quality. They inspire action, foster hope, and encourage growth. In contrast, negative words drain energy, create barriers, and often lead to feelings of stagnation or defeat. The way we speak creates ripples in the world around us, and those ripples can either help or hinder our progress. When you focus your words on what you want to create or achieve, you direct your energy toward those goals. Speaking about your ambitions, desires, and dreams infuses them with intention. Your words act as affirmations, reinforcing your belief in your ability to succeed. This energy flows outward, attracting opportunities, people, and circumstances that align with your goals. When you speak with conviction about your purpose, you create a powerful alignment between your inner thoughts and the outer world. In this way, your energy follows where your words go, setting the tone for your experience. However, when you focus your words on what you fear or dread, your energy gravitates toward those fears. Complaints, doubts, and negative self-talk all direct your energy toward what you don't want. Every time you voice a worry or a concern, you reinforce the possibility of it coming true. This does not mean that you should ignore real problems or avoid addressing challenges, but rather that you should be mindful of how much time and energy you devote to discussing or focusing on what is negative. The more you dwell on difficulties, the more energy you give them. This can lead to feelings of helplessness or even attract more problems into your life because your words and the energy behind them are constantly reinforcing a mindset of scarcity or fear. The energy of your words also shapes your relationships. Communication is the foundation of any meaningful connection, and the way you speak to others determines the nature of those connections. When you speak with kindness, respect, and appreciation, you attract the same energy in return. People are drawn to those who lift them up with their words, who make them feel seen and heard. On the other hand, when you speak with criticism, judgment, or negativity, you create distance and tension in your relationship. Words are the medium through which we build trust, express love, and resolve conflicts. The energy behind those words determines whether those connections deepen or break. In a world where opinions are easily shared and information spreads rapidly, the ability to control the narrative is more important than ever. The first step in controlling the narrative is awareness. Many people let others define them without realizing it. They allow external voices, media outlets, critics, even friends and family to shape how they are perceived. But if you do not actively manage how you present yourself, someone else will do it for you. You must be conscious of the story that is being told and be proactive in making sure it is one that reflects who you are and what you stand for. This means being clear about your own goals, values, and messages so that you can communicate them effectively to others. Once you are aware of the narrative, you can begin to take deliberate actions to shape it. This requires consistency and authenticity in everything you do. Your actions, words, and decisions must all align with the story you want to tell. If you are trying to present yourself as a leader, your behavior must reflect leadership qualities. If you want to be seen as trustworthy, your actions must demonstrate reliability and honesty. The narrative is built not just through what you say, but by how you act. People will judge you based on what you do, not just what you say, and they will form an opinion based on the consistency between the two. One of the most powerful ways to control the narrative is through storytelling. Humans are wired to understand the world through stories. When you can tell a compelling and authentic story about yourself or your business, you captivate attention and engage others in a meaningful way. Stories help create context, build emotional connections, and allow you to frame your experiences in a way that aligns with your values. Whether in interviews, social media posts, or conversations, sharing your story allows you to define who you are and what you stand for. This is your chance to highlight your strengths, explain your journey, and showcase the lessons you've learned along the way. The media and public perception play a huge role in shaping the narrative. And while you cannot control everything the media says, you can influence how the story is told. In the age of social media, anyone can share information, and stories can quickly go viral, for better or worse. Managing how you interact with the media and how you respond to public scrutiny is key to maintaining control over your narrative. When faced with negative publicity or criticism, it's important to respond calmly, thoughtfully, and strategically. This could involve issuing a public statement, correcting misinformation, or simply demonstrating through your actions that you are committed to doing better. The way you respond to challenges often speaks louder than the challenges themselves and can have a significant impact on how the narrative shifts in your favor. Another essential aspect of controlling the narrative is knowing when to speak up and when to stay silent. Silence can be a powerful tool in shaping the story. When you remain calm and composed in the face of negativity or adversity, it can send a message of confidence and resilience. Sometimes saying nothing at all allows the situation to cool down. And in the absence of new information, the narrative will often settle in a way that benefits you. On the other hand, responding too quickly or emotionally can give others more fuel to control the story in their favor. Being strategic in your communications helps maintain your authority over the narrative. Personal branding is also a critical element in controlling the narrative. By establishing a strong personal brand, you can define how you want to be perceived by others. A personal brand is a combination of your reputation, your skills, your values, and the way you present yourself to the world. Whether through social media, networking, or professional achievements, your personal brand serves as a foundation for the narrative others build about you. It's important to be intentional with the image you create. This includes the type of content you share, the tone of your interactions, and the way you position yourself in your professional or social circles. Sometimes controlling the narrative also involves the ability to pivot. Life is unpredictable, and the narrative may shift unexpectedly due to changes in circumstances, new information, or external pressures. In such cases, it is essential to stay adaptable and adjust your story without losing sight of your core values. Being flexible in how you present yourself allows you to navigate challenges and take advantage of new opportunities without completely abandoning your original narrative. Pivoting effectively requires a balance of honesty and strategy, as you must maintain authenticity while also reframing the story in a way that reflects your growth and adaptability.